So the Samsung Galaxy S24 on the first look might look like the S23, which also looks like the S22. But actually, if you take a look at it, zoom out at it, you find that there's a lot going on here more than just the design alone. And this is really going to ignite the battle between smartphones. And why is that? First of all, there's a lot of improvement in the hardware, which we all know. But best of all is the AI, which just got introduced into it, which is something we've never seen before. But actually, let us start from the beginning. Let us start with the first thing that first of all notice is the updated design, which is something we've never seen before. Because first of all, it is so flatter, less rounded, and it feels like a boxy dime and not like a brick, which other parts ones have actually coming. Aside from that, you also find that the finish that they use on it actually doesn't attract fingerprints, and the sides are now matte finish, are now new matte finish and more textured and not really glossy like what the S23 actually comes in. Yeah. And when you also find out that there are new colors. There's now a yellow, there's a two-tone violet, there's grey, and there's black. And one thing I'm probably sure about the grey one is it's probably going to attract more attention and more similarities between the Samsung and the iPhone. Well, it's always expected. But one thing I want you to know is that Samsung, the reason why to attract more attention is because Samsung has now swapped the aluminum they often use for their smartphones with titanium, the same that Apple was also using for their own smartphone, which is really, really amazing. And the screen, I'm really, really happy that they've done something to the screen now, because the screen, thanks to the fact that they've now using titanium, which can conduct it out more, and it's also making the phone lighter and stronger. The screen, thanks to the design also, is now for the first time, praise the Lord, is now flat, and then the borders are all even around, which is something that Samsung has struggled with for some years now. And not just the design now. So let us just move. Let us not talk about design aside. Let us talk about the hardware of the smartphone. Well, as expected, they have changed some things, and I'll just go through them rapidly. They've changed the speaker design from a compartment section to just a straight one section, which can make sound come out even more better. It now supports Wi-Fi 6 and not Wi-Fi 6E. It now supports Wi-Fi 7 and not Wi-Fi 6E, which the S23 supports. But the Wi-Fi 7 is now 4 times faster than the Wi-Fi 6E, which is really, really improving. The screen responsiveness is now up by about 12%. And one big thing I noticed is the brightness of the smartphone. You see, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra has a peak brightness of 1750 nits, which is bright for its size and for what it is already. The most brightest phone before the S23 came out was the iPhone. iPhone 15 has a peak brightness of 2000 nits, which is good already. But the S24 Ultra is something that is blowing us away. It has a peak brightness of 2600 nits, which is cool, because you find that it is really, really bright, and it is something that we should actually not worried about, but actually I like it the way it is bright. And one thing again is that they've upgraded their screen from the Gorilla Glass Victus 2 to the Gorilla Glass Armor, which is Samsung says is going to be 4 times more powerful than the competition, which I don't really understand who the competition is at that moment in time, but they actually say it's going to be 4 times more powerful than the competition, which is And also, they say that the screen, the Gorilla Glass Armor, is going to reduce screen flare by about 75%, which is something I would like to be able to see very well. And to be serious, let's be honest, you can find that the hardware features about the Samsung S24 is really, really impressive, right? But we've not even gotten to the biggest part here. But before we get to the big part, let's talk about the power. You see, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra is now going to run on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip, which for the first time is more powerful than that of the iPhone. And best of all, it's not just any kind of Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip, which most 2024 flagship will run on. It's now the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip for Galaxy, which is more like custom made for Galaxy. And I'm very, very sure that at peak performance, one thing you really expect from your phone, that your phone will soar. They will fly at the eye, because it is really, really impressive. One thing we always be thinking of, okay, since they've increased the power of their chip, is now more powerful. Won't that cause eating in the phone? Well, Samsung said that Samsung has now built a 1.9 times heat sink. So your phone won't get actually hot as it does even if it's cheap. It's something like an S23 Ultra. It won't get hot that much. The full side that the battery also will now be 15% more than that of the S23 Ultra, which is something that is going to be good because of how much power the S24 is actually going to be carrying. But before we get to the AI side, which is something all of you are always we are ready to see, let us talk about the cameras. So you see, the 200 megapixel camera has now been refreshed. When I say refreshed, it has now been much more polished, so you can get more pictures. And when I say more pictures, when I say that, you know, the S23 Ultra has also a 200 megapixel camera. The 200 megapixel camera, they want you to take pictures. It's often there's more like a slight delay, a split-second delay between the taking of pictures to saving to your gallery. But the S24 Ultra now more like cuts that down. So in the S23 Ultra, you take picture with 200 megapixel, it's about 333 milliseconds. But for the S24 Ultra, it is now reduced to 238 milliseconds. So you can take shots in 200 megapixel faster and still have a clearer image. But you can also take it even faster than the 238 megapixel, 238 milliseconds. But it does come at the cost of your image quality, which is something I want. Since if that one is good enough, I would not advise anybody on to take it to go for that. And you see, the front camera and the back camera have a new better noise reduction algorithm, which is really good because that's one of the biggest problems that Samsung often have over the years. Like something Samsung has improved, talked about the photos that the picture of taking, they call it a pro visual engine, which is something we don't actually know what it is because Samsung didn't really deliberate on it actually, but anyhow, which is good. You see, on that thing they've changed in the smartphone. The S23 Ultra has a main camera, a 0.5 times 1, a ultra wide, and then a 10 times zoom, right? But you see that 10 times zoom has now been swapped for a 5 times zoom camera lens on the S24, which is kind of strange, but actually it's a really good one. This one I say it's a good one is because the 10 times zoom on the S23 Ultra and the 5 times zoom on the S24 Ultra, Samsung kind of tweaked it and saw that the S24 5 times zoom is actually better than the 10 times zoom on the S23 Ultra. So you can maybe take better pictures and better photos. And also that 5 times zoom now has a bigger sensor and can give you 2 times optical image stabilization and 5 times the resolution of what you are taking, which is actually, it's not more like as if they remove it, it's just more like as if they changed the name and improved the camera to like a 50 megapixel camera. But they didn't say that. And while also taking pictures, they also include AI, which can also help you to make the pictures more better, so you can actually more like see it clearer. Best of all, you can now take videos at 8K with 5 times zoom and 4K with your 10 times zoom, which is really, really glorious and really, really nice. So before we talk about the AI, the final thing I want to talk about is the software. Samsung has given us a better software, and that software is what this S24 will come or came with a One UI 6.1 OS based on Android 14, which is really, really awesome. And there are some particular specs I just loved about it. First of all, they've reduced the drop-down memo and have made it much more interactive, which is really, really brilliant. They're also giving a new display. So your new always-on display is now better than that of the iPhone, and it is better than that of every Samsung generation smartphone that has ever been, which is really, really good. You have dynamic widgets which can float around, and even camera widgets which you can just allow to jump into your camera directly. And take for instance, if you are listening to music, you can now see it visualizing, which is really, really awesome. So let's talk about AI and what it's actually going to be about. So the AI of Samsung Galaxy S24 is really, let us not be honest, it's really, really brilliant because this is the first smartphone over a decade or since smartphone has started to be supercharged with AI. And so we'll just go through it and talk about the good and the bad, and I'll just give you some rating. So first of all is instant slow-mo. You see, when you are watching a video, you just go to your gallery, click on the video and you're watching it. The moment you place your hand on the screen, it immediately and instantly jumps into slow-mo, which is really, really awesome and it's really, really great. Though you can see some little bits of imbalance on your shirt or whatever you're wearing because it's of how it just jumped into it straight, but still it is really, really awesome. And so for things like that, I'll just give it a 9 out of 10 because you can also take a slow-mo on your camera, but even after you've taken a slow-mo on your camera, you're still watching it again in your gallery, this feature can also still apply to it, which is really, really insane. Another thing that they've also increased with AI is generative wallpaper, which allow you to generate one of a kind wallpaper by just allowing you to change some of the words which are already there. They can allow you to change some of the words, and it is really really useful. For this, I will give it a 8 out of 10 because it is something that wallpaper is something that I can take about 2 hours to select, because I'm looking for one that's going to be more like peculiar to me, that most people see the way to find and like, okay, yes, this one is one of a kind, but things like that are really really tough, to be honest. Yeah. And then come to AI image editing. And this AI image editing are in 2 parts. First of all, it's one that is allowed to tweak your portrait mode, makes you more in the subject and blur the background. But the second part is the generative AI editor, which is one of the main things, and has 3 perks about it. First of all, it can allow you to move your subject from one part to other, which normally we know we can do before. 2, it can allow you to erase distractions, which is also something that it feels like Google can do. But 3, it can allow you to expand or rotate your picture while using AI to fill the empty spaces in between, which is really really amazing. And one thing I just like that Samsung does with this is because, you see, once you take your picture like that and you've rotated it and you've picked it, there's just a single button there for you to just tap, and then everything gets processed. That's 1. 2, another thing they've done is that it doesn't take like more like you pressing buttons from one place. Yeah, it doesn't take more like a long time. You imagine you've turned your picture and you click on generate to fill in the empty spaces. It takes like about a second or 2 to automatically fill the spaces, which is really really brilliant, and I really really like that about it. And also, they've more like put a meta sign at the bottom, so that even if someone sees it online, they know, okay, this has been tweaked by AI, so that it's not like cause confusion between a lot of people, and it is really really amazing. They've also upgraded the video voice meeting app, which is really really something that I've always wanted to see. So with this now, you can now have your phone in between, let's say, 20 people, and then your phone will be able to individually pick everybody's voice one by one and separate them in a live conversation, which it will transcript, converting their voice to text, which is really really amazing. After you convert their voice to text, is something you can just go to after you're done. And best of all, it can give you real life call translation. So that means that if someone is in another place, you can call them, and then as they are talking to you in their native language, you will be hearing in your own language, and then you'll be able to talk back to them in your language, and your phone will translate it to their own language without them needing to have an S24, which is something that I really really love. Because if we were to be some other smartphones now, you'll be like, okay, you must have an S24 before that can work. But it's something that Samsung has just done and have pulled up easily. So overall, the initial assessment of this phone is really really amazing, and the hardware is top tier. The software is very very flexible, but very flexible, but fun also, which is something I like. And talk about the AI, though it's not that balanced. Let's say you give it a 60%, but one thing I like about it is the fact that on the first launch of the smartphone, this software is available worldwide, which is really really amazing. So those are things you should know. I'll be making another video about the AI. That video will be coming up tomorrow. I'm making a video about the AI, so everything you should know about the AI. And the full review will come up probably in a week or 2. Subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the very next one. Bye.